If you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do, all these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Hey guys, and welcome to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Cynthia, and happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope you all had a great weekend since the last time I talked to you, which was last Thursday. I hope, since then, I hope you guys had a great week, chill week, productive, whatever the case may be. Let's see, here in the Sacramento area, it's starting to get hot, dry heat. If you live in an area like Sacramento or somewhere in Southern California like Riverside, then you understand dry heat is just absolutely terrible, okay? Like you feel like you're going to boil in the sun every time the sun comes in contact with your skin. And it's starting to get like that here. I know I may be a little dramatic too. I haven't lived in the Sacramento area summertime wise. I come to visit all the time, but I haven't lived here in the summer for 6 years. I was living in, Santa Barbara by the beach, and then I was living in the Bay Area, which is a lot cooler than, here in the Valley. So I am just now getting smacked with the heat. I am being a big old baby complaining about the heat. Yes, I know. Just let me complain, you guys. So if you are living in an area with dry heat or in the Sacramento area, such as myself, stay cool, you guys. Drink lots of water. If you it's still good to go outside, but maybe go outside really early in the morning or once the sun sets, just to, get some fresh air still. We don't want to be cooped up in the house the entire time. And I've kind of been cooped up in the house the entire time. I have gone on walks and whatnot, but those are early in the morning because I just cannot stand the fact or the feeling of sweating or me being hot. The only time I think it's acceptable for me to sweat is when I work out. If I'm sweating and I'm not working out, I instantly am in an irritable mood. Who else is like this? I don't know. It could be just me. But anyways, enough about me complaining about the heat and all that. As promised from the previous week, I am doing a Superfoods Part 2. So in last week's episode, we introduced the topic of superfoods. What are they? Why are they important? And, why should they be an essential part in everyone's diet? We talked about what are their benefits, and I even listed a few items labeled as superfoods, which were acai berries, bone broth, and chia seeds. So if you want to learn more about those 3 items and you want to learn more about the benefits, why superfoods should be included in your diet and all that good stuff, go check out my previous episode here at the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. I forgot exactly I think it's episode 276, and it's just titled Superfoods. So if you want to listen to that one first and then come back and listen to part 2, completely up to you. Or if you just want to skip that one and listen to this, completely fine. The first or the other episode, the superfoods one, I go more in depth into what exactly they are and all that good stuff. But I'll still give you guys a quick refresher here on superfoods. So in a nutshell, superfoods are nutritional powerhouses. They are extremely high in micronutrients like vitamins, minerals, as well as antioxidants, enzymes, and healthy fats. All of these things are super important for our bodies to continue to thrive and function properly. So these nutrients are essential, and a lot of us don't get enough of these nutrients and minerals in our diet. When you eat superfoods, you're getting more bang for your nutritional buck thanks to their their nutrient profile. What's more is that they are organically grown without harmful chemicals. They also contribute to healthier and more nutrient-rich soil, combats soil erosion, and supports water conservation, amongst other things. So again, if you want to learn more on the whys of superfoods, then tune in to my last week's episode, 276, titled Superfoods. And without further ado, let's get into what we're here to talk about today. So I will be listing 4 superfoods for today's episode. We're first going to be talking about dark leafy greens, then turmeric, ginger, and at the very end, we'll discuss fermented foods. So those are the items that I will be talking on today's episode. It would have been way too long if I included these items as well as the ones from last week. It would have been like a 2-hour-long episode. Not really sure if you guys are down for that. So I wanted to break it up into 2 1-hour-ish shows. So here we go. First one being dark leafy greens. It turns out that Popeye was smart to eat spinach, right? The nutrients found in spinach and other dark leafy greens provide a host of health benefits that can ward off disease and actually help you live longer. And they're easy to prepare, which is my favorite. I love foods that are easy to prepare. So here, I'm about to shed light on all there is to love about 5 popular dark greens. And in my opinion, I think dark leafy greens may be one of the most overlooked superfood sources. I think we automatically assume, or when we think of the term superfoods, we automatically assume, superfoods are expensive. Superfoods are exotic foods. And I put an air quote around exotic. And what I mean by exotic is that they are foods that are not easy to find, or foods that come from other parts of the world and not grown here in the U.S. But that's not true. Superfoods, not all superfoods are expensive. Not all superfoods are, air quote, exotic. Dark leafy greens qualify as an essential superfood due to its nutrient-dense profile, very easy to find, okay, and pretty inexpensive to purchase. I'm sure we've all went to the grocery store and bought, some type of dark leafy greens, and it didn't really, break our bank accounts. I'm pretty positive about that. So here we go. The first popular dark green that we'll be discussing is kale. So this dark leafy green now tops the list in produce popularity. Previously sold mostly in health food stores, it is now easy to find in your local grocery store. Kale is a great source of vitamins A, C, and K, plus it contains calcium and potassium. Additionally, more about, the kale nutrient profile. Kale contains carotenins, specifically lutein, and I'm going to try my best to pronounce this one, zeaxanthin. Consuming both of these carotenes may help prevent age-related macular degeneration, also shortened for AMD, okay? So what exactly is age-related macular degeneration? AMD is a problem with your retina. It happens when a part of the retina called the macula is damaged. With AMD, you lose your central vision, that's where your macula is located, in the center of your eye. You cannot see the fine lines, whether you're looking at something close or far, but your peripheral vision will still be normal. So, for example, imagine you're looking at a clock with hands. If you experience or have age-related macular degeneration, AMD, you might see the clock's numbers, but not the hands. So kale contains these 2 carotenins that help prevent this from occurring. And it's crazy when I found this out because, all our lives in our younger little selves, we were taught carrots are supposed to help with vision. Eat your carrots so you have great vision. But as I got older and I started to dive more into the research of food, all these studies have came about that there's no evidence that links carrots to better or improved vision. So the fact that kale is that one dark leafy green that does that, I was shocked. I always eat kale salads. So that's my preferred dark leafy green. And in addition to me eating a salad, it's not only delicious, like when it's in a salad or when it's steamed, but kale also makes a fantastic crunchy chip. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of how I make my kale crunchy chip right after this commercial break.
Are you looking to learn more about the latest trends from the fitness world? Are you confused by all of the different trends that are out there? The GSMC Fitness Podcast is the place for you. The GSMC Fitness Podcast is the place to come for people of all skill and interest levels. Join us as we explore the latest trends in the fitness world. Does that new exercise really work? Should I try yoga? Whatever your question, chances are good you'll find an answer on the GSMC Fitness Podcast.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. So in the previous segment, we start to dive a little bit into dark leafy greens, and we're going to continue on along with that conversation, still talking about kale. I was about to share with you guys my quick, easy recipe of making really tasty kale chips. So here's my favorite way to eat it. Tear the leaves into small pieces, drizzle a little bit of olive oil or lemon juice, and then sprinkle the kale with your favorite spice blend. I personally like to put pepper, salt, and garlic powder. Then I bake that for 10 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and voila. You have crunchy kale chips. So tasty, so good. Highly recommend for you guys to try it this way. There are many supermarkets that carry a variety of commercial kale chips. I'm sure many of you have seen them in the shelves, but be wary of their fat content. Some kale chip brands are loaded with extra calories due to the fat and the flavors added. So my best and healthy recommendation or suggestion to you guys is to make these kale chips at home. As I just explained to you, super easy and quick to make, and they taste just as delicious, but without all of the excess stuff that they usually add in commercial chips. So you see, you guys, there are other delicious ways to eat your dark leafy greens besides in a salad, or besides, just steaming them. I think you just got to experiment and, see what's the tastiest for you, see what you like. So that was the first dark leafy green that we're going to be talking about. The next one is Swiss chard. This is a delicious green loaded with vitamins and minerals containing 13 different antioxidants, including camphorol, which helps protect the heart, and syringic acid, which has been shown to help control blood sugar levels, making Swiss chard a great green for diabetics. In addition, we also talked about this last week, how antioxidants are important because they neutralize the damaging effects of free radicals throughout the body. And if free radicals are not neutralized by antioxidants, they can damage cells and lead to a number of diseases, including diabetes, cancer, and heart disease. So antioxidants are absolutely essential. And keep in mind that Swiss chard contains something called oxalic acid that can deplete bones and teeth of calcium when eaten in large amounts, okay? Not gonna lie, that was pretty alarming to me when I found out about oxalic acid. So let's unpack this for a minute, because I'm sure many of you have questions regarding oxalic acid, Like, what is it? How could a superfood such as Swiss chard also contain anti-nutrients? Like, is it good? Is it bad? So I'm going to break it down for you guys. Oxalic acid, or also known as oxalate, is an organic compound found in many plants. Foods highest with oxalic acid are Swiss chard. Swiss chard is the item that carries the highest content of oxalic acid of all foods at 700 milligrams. Spinach is another one. I know we just talked about spinach briefly. Beets, rhubarb, just to name a few. Those are some of the items that carry oxalic acid or higher content of oxalic acid. So as you may be able to tell by some of the food items I just mentioned, many healthy foods or, many foods that contain oxalates are delicious and provide many health benefits. So avoiding them is not necessary for most people and can even be detrimental if you just completely eliminate them. And that's definitely not my purpose here. I'm not trying to deter you away from these foods. I'm not trying to scare you and say these foods are bad and you should avoid them. If anything, I'm just trying to make you all aware of this compound, found in these foods, because this was new information to me, and I'm sure it's new to many of you as well who are listening right now. So really, the only people who should even be slightly concerned about their oxalic acid intake are people, or like who should even be a tiny bit vigilant, are those with kidney stones or GI problems, gastrointestinal problems. And even these individuals shouldn't avoid these foods completely. If anything, you should just do a low oxalate diet. So here are a few tips on how to follow a low oxalate diet if you are one of these susceptible individuals. Number 1, limit oxalate to 50 milligrams per day. Choose a variety of nutrient-dense animal and plant sources from this list of foods very low in oxalate. 2, boil oxalate-rich vegetables, because boiling vegetables can reduce their oxalate content from 30% to almost 90% depending on the vegetable. So spinach, Swiss chard right now that we're talking about. Generally speaking, those foods, a lot of people already tend to, saute or boil them. So just by doing that alone, you are already tremendously decreasing the amount of oxalic acid found in these vegetables. My next tip for trying to stay on a low oxalate diet, if you are concerned, is to drink plenty of water. Aim for a minimum of 2 liters daily. If you have kidney stones, drink enough to produce at least 2.5 liters of urine a day. Okay? And last but not least, get enough calcium, of course. Calcium binds to oxalate in the gut and reduces the amount your body absorbs. So try to get about 800 to 12,000 milligrams of calcium per day. And with all that being said, again, I just want to reiterate, healthy people trying to stay healthy do not need to avoid nutrient-dense foods just because they are high in oxalic acid or oxalates. It is simply not a nutrient of concern for most people. So again, I don't want to alarm you guys with this whole talk of oxalic acid. I know the name alone sounds pretty scary, so don't be afraid. Oxalic acid is in many of our foods. It's just making sure it doesn't overexceed. So again, boiling Swiss chard uncovered will greatly decrease the amount of oxalic acid. Once fully cooked, season it with salt and pepper and serve. It's that simple, people. Don't overcomplicate it with your dark leafy greens. Don't be alarmed with the talk of oxalic acid. I just wanted to mention it in case for those people who are listening to me and do have GI tract problems or who do, have a tendency or experience kidney stones. The next dark leafy green superfood we're talking about, because that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about superfoods. We're not talking about oxalic acid. Collard greens, okay? I've tried collard greens one time in my life, a long time ago, with an ex-boyfriend's family. So I'm not going to get into much detail, but I did try collard greens. This dark leafy green, which is a staple in the South, is delicious and packed with vitamins and minerals. Collard greens contain vitamin C, E, K, beta carotene, and omega-3 fatty acids. And omega-3 fatty acids are essential. They also contain phytonutrients called glucosinolates, which help detox the body and lower oxidative stress, decreasing the risk of cells becoming cancerous. A study by Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center and Shanghai Center for Disease Control and Prevention found that dark leafy greens, such as collard greens, are associated with a decreased risk of cancers, including breast, lung, prostate, and colon cancer. To get the biggest nutrient punch from collard greens, simply put the collard greens into thin strips and steam for 5 minutes, season, and voila, you're done. That's a great thing about all these dark leafy greens, you guys. It's inexpensive, so easy to prepare, 5 minutes or less to make. We're almost done with our dark leafy greens list here, you guys. Next one here on the list are mustard greens. The name of the dark leafy green honestly throws me off a bit, like mustard greens. I'm not a fan of mustard, so when I hear these two put together, it throws me off a little bit. This bitter dark leafy green has been shown to help lower cholesterol by binding to bile acid and pulling it out of the body. They are a good source of vitamins A and C, as well as important antioxidants, beta carotene, and manganese. They also contain a high amount of anti-cancer property, glucosinates. Here's how I was recommended to eat them. Rinse and chop up the greens and let them sit for 5 minutes. Add a few tablespoons of broth into a skillet and heat until it starts to simmer. Then add the greens and saute for 5 minutes. And then finish it off with a squeeze of lemon juice and a sprinkle of salt and pepper. And there you have your mustard greens. This is how I was recommended. I haven't actually tried it. Again, the name alone just throws me off a little bit, so I'm a little hesitant. But let me know in the comments how you would eat this. And then for our fifth and final dark leafy green superfood are turnip greens. This green is higher in glucosinolates than kale and contains vitamins A, B6, C, E, and K, calcium, copper, and iron. Turnip greens also contain fiber that helps lower cholesterol. Turnip greens are also very high in folate, supporting cardiovascular health. The high iron content is important for the formation of healthy red blood cells. And to prepare turnip greens, simply steam for 7 minutes, which actually maximizes the nutritional benefits of this specific green. And then saute with lemon and garlic for a delicious side dish. So there you guys have it. Dark leafy greens, our very first superfood where we talked about on today's episode. We covered kale, Swiss chard, mustard greens, turnip greens. And is that it? 5? Did I say 5? See, I'm tripping. Okay. Let me know in the comments which dark leafy green is your favorite. What's your favorite way to prepare it? Again, my favorite is kale. And I just explained to you guys how I'll make my kale chips. So let me know in the comments if you guys try my recipe as well. And we're going to cut into another very brief break right now. When we come back, we're moving on to our next superfood item.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. So we are done with the conversation of dark leafy greens. We talked about a variety of different leafy greens that contain amazing health benefits and their nutrient profiles. We're now moving on to our next superfood item here, which has become extremely popular over this last year or so, and that is turmeric. The miracle spice, I've even heard people call turmeric. This is definitely, as I just mentioned, a newer and popular superfood that everyone has been talking about. My first time trying turmeric was in an Indian restaurant in the Bay Area. It was actually my first time trying curry as well, and it was so good, so delicious. I'm just now seeing that turmeric is being sold as a supplement or in powder form or in pill form on Amazon and many other online platforms and grocery stores, which I don't know. I didn't know that was a thing, but I mean, it is a spice, so I'm not surprised. Coffee shops and other, drink and juice shops sell something called a golden milk latte. Have you guys heard of this before? Golden milk latte, which again, I've been seeing all over Instagram. Basically, it's a latte with turmeric. So of course it's orange, it's bright, it's pretty, it's aesthetically pleasing. So of course you got to Instagram it, right? Turmeric, the bright yellow spice often used in curries, mustards, and golden milk lattes, has gained quite a reputation as a superfood. It has been touted for its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties and hailed as a natural defense against cancer and Alzheimer's disease. As trendy and hip turmeric may be now, it's far from new. It's been used in food and as medicine for at least 4,000 years. First in India and other parts of Asia, and later in Africa and the Caribbean. Researchers in India recently identified mineral remnants of turmeric and ginger on the cooking pots of teeth of ancient Indus River remains, suggesting a curry-like dish may have been eaten in one of the first urban civilizations. So this dates back to literally thousands of years ago, but us over here in the Western civilization, we catch on to things a little late. Curcumin, which is the active component in turmeric, is credited with its numerous health benefits, but was not identified until 1910. As science has begun to uncover the many potential benefits, this already common root has only become more popular. Side note, just random thought here in my brain. Isn't it weird and fascinating at the same time how food items can be trendy just like fashion? How does that even happen? Like, who decides and makes these decisions on what food items are popular, what's in, what's out? So right now, turmeric is in style. And I don't know, these are just random thoughts that pop in my brain as I talk through this. Do any of you guys, what do you guys think? I don't know. I'm probably being weird. Anyway, back to what we're here to talk about. Turmeric. The basic nutritional aspects of 100 grams of turmeric include 340% of the daily recommended intake of manganese and 517% of iron. How in the heck are you able to get this type of percentage on a spice? I'm confused. I thought 100 is the max, 100 of 100. How can something be over 500%? That's wild. I don't know. Turmeric is also an excellent source of fiber, vitamin B6, potassium, vitamin C, and magnesium. However, the two key therapeutic components of turmeric are turmerone and curcumin. It is a curcumin that gives turmeric its superpowers, I'd say. And that's the component that we'll be mainly focusing on as we talk through turmeric. As of January 2015, there are nearly 5,000 studies and articles on curcumin or turmeric listed in the National Institutes of Health PubMed database, which is considered one of the top directories for medical research. Of course, not all of these studies prove definitive health benefits of curcumin in humans, but many offer compelling evidence that the root offers far more than just the beautiful, yellow hue so commonly found in curry dishes and mustard and on Instagram now. Researchers are testing the effects of turmeric on everything from achy joints to blood sugar management and finding various promising results. Among its benefits, it has anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-parasitic, wound healing, and anti-malarial properties. So amazing across the board here. In human studies, the most promising results have been found in curcumin's application in inflammatory disorders, irritable bowel syndrome, and ulcerative colitis, eye and skin conditions, neurological disorders, certain types of cancer, diabetic neuropathy, and pain. Like I said, this is amazing to hear because the majority of our body aches and pains and discomfort, 9 times out of 10, they're inflammation issues. And as I mentioned before, turmeric is a natural anti-inflammatory, and this herb has been used, in medicine for many, many years to treat arthritis and other inflammatory conditions. And you guys should know this by now if you've been listening to me for a while. When it comes to medicine, I'm more for the holistic approach. I believe food is medicine. I believe we can cure and heal our bodies the natural way. I am not for big pharma, okay? I'm not for the pharmaceutical companies. That's my opinion, though. That's not to say if you disagree with me, that's fine too. We can agree to disagree. I'm not saying the way if people want to go the non-holistic approach, that's wrong. It's just everyone's each to their own. So the fact that turmeric has been, a staple in medicine and in food for so many years, I mean, that's something I love to hear and love to learn more about. Curcumin was put to the test in a 2012 randomized study consisting of 45 patients with active rheumatoid arthritis. One group received 500 milligrams of cumin, while another group received 50 milligrams of another anti-inflammatory drug. The results, which were published in the peer-reviewed scientific journal called Phytotherapy Research, found that the curcumin group had the highest percentage of improvement. The study also notes, more importantly, that curcumin treatment was found to be safe and did not relate with any adverse events. Another amazing benefit of turmeric is that it's heart healthy. Heart disease is the number one cause of death in the world, you guys, claiming the lives of over 15 million people, and turmeric may help. Curcumin has the ability to improve the endothelium, which is a thin layer of tissue that lines blood vessels. A 2012 study tracked the endothelial function in a small group of postmenopausal women and endothelial function. One group performed aerobic exercise while another group ingested curcumin. After 8 weeks, those who took curcumin improved their endothelial cell function just as much as a group who exercised. Another study suggested curcumin works just as well as atorvastatin, which is a drug often prescribed for heart-related issues. Turmeric is also good for your skin, you guys. Hello. If you search turmeric on Pinterest, just type turmeric, I can guarantee you'll find a whole online library of different kinds of turmeric face masks and facials. How do I know this? Because I've done it. I've searched it up. I actually once tried to do my own DIY, do it your own turmeric face mask. Didn't work so well. It was pretty messy and it got everywhere. Not a fan. Curcumin is a powerful antioxidant and he has the ability to block free radicals. And thanks to its anti-inflammatory properties, it may be beneficial in treating psoriasis. It's also said the combination of antioxidants and anti-inflammatories help bring out your skin's natural glow. Turmeric is the newest superfood that has the added benefit of being a delicious addition to both sweet and savory recipes. Again, it promotes balanced mood, helps with aches and stiff joints, helps in balancing blood sugar levels, aids in healing wounds, inhibits ulcers from forming, soothes irritated tissues, and much, much more. So let me know in the comments what's your favorite way of incorporating turmeric in your diet. Do you like to add turmeric in your tea, curry, supplement, salad? You can even make turmeric salad dressing. Let me know in the comments what's your favorite way of turmeric, or if you are an individual who's never tried turmeric and you would like to try, what would be your first way of trying this out? And you guys, we're going to cut into another very brief break right now. When we come back, we're moving on to our next superfood item.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. So we are done talking about turmeric and all of its amazing healthy benefits, and moving on to our next superfood item. This is a recent superfood I have been adding into my diet. If you listen to my episode, I think it was like a week or two, titled The Juicy Secret, I shared with you all how I include this specific superfood into my green juice recipe. Can any of you guess? If you listen to the episode, can you guess what I'm talking about? It's ginger. So ginger has been a recently added item into my diet. I really only ingest ginger in my green juice recipe. I cut like a tiny bit off of the root, blend it in or juice it, and then it's in my green juice, my celery green juice. Ginger is among the healthiest and, most delicious spices on the planet, if you ask me. Definitely healthiest. It is loaded with nutrients and bioactive compounds that have powerful benefits for your body and brain. Ginger is a flowering plant that originated from China. It has a very long history of use in various forms of traditional alternative medicine, which you guys know, that's my route. It has been used to help digestion, reduce nausea, and help fight the flu and common cold, to name a few. There are a variety of ways to intake ginger. It can be used fresh, dried, powdered, or as an oil or juice, and is sometimes added to processed foods and cosmetics. It's a very common ingredient in recipes and, items, household items, makeup. The unique fragrance and flavor of ginger come from its natural oils, the most important of which is gingerol. Gingerol is the main bioactive compound in ginger, responsible for much of its medicinal properties. It has powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. This active ingredient in ginger can help fight infections. So gingerol, the bioactive substance in fresh ginger, can help lower the risk of infections. In fact, ginger extract can inhibit the growth of many different types of bacteria. It is very effective against the oral bacteria linked to inflammatory diseases in the gums, such as gingivitis and periodontitis. I hope I said that correctly. You can correct me in the comments if I said that wrong. Fresh ginger may also be effective against the RSV virus, a common cause of respiratory infections. So I wish ginger was like the cure for COVID-19, for the coronavirus, because girl, we are suffering out here, okay? Quarantine is taking a toll, but it's okay. We'll get through this. Another amazing benefit of ginger, it appears to be highly effective against nausea, especially morning sickness. So for like pregnant ladies. But I've also heard from some pregnant individuals that morning sickness is a lie, that you actually feel sick all hours of the day. So that's not fun. For example, ginger has a long history of use as a seasickness remedy. And there is some evidence that it may be as effective as prescription medication. Ginger may also relieve nausea and vomiting after surgery and in cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy. But it may be the most effective when it comes to pregnancy-related nausea, such as morning sickness. I'm not exactly sure how that differs, being nauseous from like surgery compared to being nauseous from being pregnant. I mean, isn't nausea? I don't know. But let me read you guys the study. According to a review of 12 studies that included a total of 1,278 pregnant women, 1.1 to 1.5 grams of ginger can significantly reduce symptoms of nausea. However, ginger had no effect on vomiting episodes in this study. So it's just to treat nausea, not for actual, vomit. Can't talk about that too much because it's making me nauseous already just talking about it. Although ginger is considered safe, talk to your doctor before taking large amounts if you are pregnant. Some believe that large amounts can raise the risk of miscarriage, but again, there are currently no studies to support this. It's just speculation. So my pregnant listeners, don't be afraid of ginger. This is just speculation. And if you are someone who deals with nausea a lot, this is something new that I just found out. Try ginger candies or chews the next time you're feeling queasy. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I didn't know there was like ginger flavored candies or chews. Not how that would taste. Probably wouldn't be too tasty. But if it's going to help cure your queasiness, then I'm for it. In addition, ginger may reduce muscle pain and soreness. Ginger has been shown to be effective against exercise-induced muscle pain, aka soreness. In one study, consuming 2 grams of ginger per day for 11 days significantly reduced muscle pain in people performing elbow exercises. Ginger does not have an immediate impact, but may be effective at reducing the day-to-day progression of muscle pain. These effects are believed to be mediated by the anti-inflammatory properties found in ginger roll. The anti-inflammatory effects in ginger can help with osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is a common health problem. It involves degeneration of the joints in the body, leading to symptoms like joint pain and stiffness. In a controlled trial of 247 people with osteoarthritis of the knee, those who took ginger extract had less pain and required less pain medication. Another study found that a combination of ginger, mastic, cinnamon, and sesame oil can reduce pain and stiffness in osteoarthritis patients when applied topically. I didn't even know there was such a thing as like ginger cream. I need to try that. Ginger can help treat chronic indigestion. Chronic indigestion is characterized by recurrent pain and discomfort in the upper part of the stomach. It is believed that delayed emptying of the stomach is a major driver of indigestion. Interestingly, ginger has been shown to speed up emptying of the stomach in people with this condition. After eating soup, ginger reduced the time it took for the stomach to empty from 16 to 12 minutes. So that's pretty quick. In a study of 24 healthy individuals, 1.2 grams of ginger powder before a meal accelerated emptying of the stomach by 50%. That's a pretty dramatic number if you ask me. All in all, you guys, as you may be able to tell, Ginger is one of the very few superfoods actually worthy of that term. Again, you can buy ginger fresh or powdered ginger at your local grocery store or purchase ginger supplements online. The only issue that I have with like ginger supplement or like turmeric supplements, like pill form, I don't know. I feel like you're not ingesting enough fiber that way. You guys know how I feel about fiber. I literally talked all about the importance of fiber in my episode. Again, I'm so bad with the numbers, the juicy secret. So get your fiber in, people. It's very, very important. You shouldn't always take all of the healthy foods in supplement form because you do need that fiber intake. It's super vital, and many Americans, we undertake or don't take enough fiber content. So whenever you can, eat, and whenever you can't, take the supplement. And you guys, we're going to come to a very brief break right now. When we come back, I'm going to share with you guys the final superfood of today's episode.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. We are now entering the final segment of today's show. I feel like these go by so quick. Don't you guys? No? Yes? Okay. So, the final superfood item we will be covering, dissecting today. This has also been, a new craze over the last year or so. Fermented foods, okay? Over the last year, the health and wellness industries have emphasized the importance of a healthy gut. 80% of our immune system is in our gut, and if that is not in order, you may experience some serious negative side effects because your immune system is basically tied to your overall well-being. So with with gut health being the new wellness topic, people are turning to fermented foods to help fix that issue. So what are fermented foods? Fermented foods are a special group of foods that have gone through a fermentation process, creating a deliciously picked or strongly flavored condiment, food, or drink. Some of the most commonly known food ferments include wine, cheese, and pickles. However, there are many others that involve the use of vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, beans, or liquids such as vegan milks, plant-based milks, teas, or even water. These cultured foods like sauerkraut and coconut kefir contain communities of friendly microscopic bacteria that are extremely beneficial to the health of the colon and the entire digestive tract. Others, including tempeh, vegan seed cheese, and miso, provide necessary components that help to pre-digest whole foods like beans and seeds, breaking them down into usable nutrients and amino acids. So a lot of plant-based options here. Whether you are consuming a high raw diet or a fast food diet, it can be very beneficial to a health promoting lifestyle to add in some variety of these cultured superfoods and drinks on a regular basis. I've listed 5 fermented foods that are additionally easy and fun to make at home with minimal tools or supplies. First one being kombucha. Kombucha, we've seen this all over our grocery stores. Kombucha is a tangy and slightly fizzy beverage made from fermenting a sweetened tea with the kombucha mushroom culture, a thick gelatin mat made up of multiple species of bacteria and yeast. Cultured kombucha is a refreshing and energizing drink that can be a great alternative to sodas, caffeinated drinks, or alcohol. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think there is a little bit of alcohol content in kombucha though. I think there is. It contains a number of nutritious elements, including amino acids, enzymes, polyphenols, vitamin C, and is known for its high levels of B vitamins. Kombucha is recognized as a helpful detoxification aid because of its glucuronic acid content. This is a compound that can effectively bind with toxins in the body and safely remove them through a process referred to as, I'm going to try my best to say this correctly, glucuronidation. I hope I said that right. Kombucha is also known for its immune boosting effects due to certain antimicrobial properties. Antioxidants like, these are hard words, you guys. I'm really trying my best to say these. Epigallocatechin, galate, and vitamin C, in addition to its various organic acids, including lactic acid, glucuronic, and acetic acids. It's a lot of tick, right? My tongue is tired from trying to pronounce all these words right. It is very easy to make a homemade kombucha with very few ingredients and a SCOBY culture. These versions are often higher in quality and nutritional components compared to uniform store-bought products. Raw cultured vegetables, also referred to as sauerkraut, is a fermented food made by culturing chopped or shredded cabbage in its own juice or brine solution. I've actually never tried sauerkraut, so I won't have too much input in this one. This can be achieved with or without the use of probiotic culture starter, as cabbage has naturally occurring beneficial microbes present on its leaves. Many other vegetables and spices can be added for extra flavor and variety, but cabbage is usually always the main ingredient. Over time, between 4 to 10 days or much longer, depending on how you like them, the vegetables become slightly pickled, zesty, and incredibly tasty. Raw sauerkraut is made and consumed as a pickled food condiment in many East Central European countries. Likewise, a wide variety of other fermented vegetable variations are also popular in many East Asian cultures, such as the popular Korean version known as kimchi. I've tried actually kimchi before. My old roommate, her family's from Korea, so I've tried kimchi before. Really good. Unpasteurized raw sauerkraut is known for its diverse array of beneficial lactic acid bacteria and enzyme content, properties of which became especially popular in the U.S. In the mid-1990s, with the introduction of the body ecology diet, this diet largely promotes the use of naturally fermented sauerkraut as a condiment for improving digestion, inhibiting candida overgrowth, and boosting immune health. Now, for the next fermented food, I actually used to eat this all the time when I was on a plant-based diet, is tempeh. Tempeh is a fermented bean cake known to have originated from the Indonesian island of Java, one of the main chain of islands located next to Bali. It is traditionally made with soybean, but can also be made with a single bean variety or a mixed combination of beans and grains. The white mycelium spore cultures from the tempeh cake, which can be sliced raw, fried, or steamed as an alternative to meat. It is always best to eat cooked beans as a fermented food because they are easier to digest, enabling greater absorption of the protein and amino acid content. Tempeh is a quick ferment, only taking about 24 to 36 hours at optimal temperature. We always recommend the fresh handmade variety rather than store-bought brands that are exclusively made with soybean. Homemade tempeh has a rich taste like gourmet mushrooms and is really incomparable to any commercial tempeh product. Next, we have kefir. Kefir is our next fermented food here we're going to be talking about. Kefir is believed to have come from somewhere in the Caucasus mountain region, specifically Armenia, Georgia, Turkey, and Iran, where it has thrived as a sacred cultured food for centuries. It is a tart yogurt-like drink that is traditionally made by fermenting dairy milk, but other vegan milk varieties can also be used, such as coconut milk and nut milks. There are also versions of water kefir that are lower in calories and fat content. Kefir is originally made using kefir grains, but can also be fermented these days with a powder culture starter. During the fermentation process, kefir develops a complex matrix of beneficial microorganisms that can greatly improve the health of the colon and entire gastrointestinal tract, as well as boost immune functions, providing natural probiotic properties that can be extremely helpful for reestablishing healthy gut flora. Drinking a glass in the morning on an empty stomach is especially recommended for those who have a past history of antibiotic use, as these drugs tend to kill all microflora in the body. And last but not least, the final fermented food drink we're going to be covering is miso. Most of us have had miso at a sushi restaurant. I used to work at a sushi restaurant and would drink miso soup all the time. So good. Miso is a traditional fermented food native to China and Japan, but is used in all parts of Southeast Asia, especially Korea, Vietnam, and Indonesia. It is a rich, salty bean paste created by fermenting mashed cooked beans and salt with the culture starter called koji. Soybean is often the main ingredient found in Asian misos, but it can alternatively be made with other types of legumes. Most people worldwide are familiar with miso soup, as I just mentioned, which is the paste dissolved in hot water heated below boiling temperature to preserve its nutritional components. Containing a certain compound called dipliconic acid, miso soup consumption has been proven helpful for chelating the effects of radiation exposure and may help offer protective properties against certain types of cancers, especially breast and prostate. So those 5 are the 5 fermented superfood sources that I wanted to cover. So again, kombucha, raw cultured vegetables, also referred to as sauerkraut, tempeh, kefir, and miso. So those 5, let me know in the comments which fermented foods you have tried. I'm sure there's many more that I didn't mention, but again, just for the sake of time and the sake of keeping this short and concise, those are the 5 I chose to pick. Also because I have experienced all of these at some point, except for the kefir. I actually haven't tried kefir, but I've tried the rest. So you guys, that's basically, no, not basically, it is. That's going to wrap up today's episode here at the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. We covered part 2 of superfoods. I could honestly do a part 3, but I'm going to change courses for the next episode I'll be doing. So we covered so much on superfoods and why they're so important and their amazing nutritional profile and the amazing health benefits that they offer our bodies. Again, these superfoods that I included in today's episode were dark leafy greens such as kale and Swiss chard. We talked about turmeric, ginger, fermented foods like miso, kefir, sauerkraut, and much more. And again, if you guys haven't tuned in to the first part or the first episode of Superfoods, go and tune into that right now after you're done listening to this. Again, I believe it's episode 276 and the episode title is just Superfoods. And that will give you more insight on the whys of superfood. Why do we eat it? Why is it good for you? Why are they labeled as superfoods? And I dive more to bone broth, chia seeds, and acai, which those 3 are actually my top 3 superfoods to consume. So again, go listen to that. And I want to thank you all for tuning in to today's episode here at the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. If you liked what I had to discuss on today's episode, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff because that tremendously helps the show. And tweet at me. I'm always handling the Twitter. It's GSMC_health. Okay. I'm handling the Twitter account. So I do respond on Twitter. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know what topics you guys want to hear from me next. Anything. Okay. And of course, again, just thank you for tuning in today's episode. And I wish you all a very happy, healthy, and successful week ahead.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.